They say that history is written by the victors, but some warriors change the course of history even in defeat. Welcome back to my channel. Here are 10 ancient legends who changed history. Number 10. Leonidas of Sparta. The year is 480 BCE, and the Persian king Xerxes has assembled an army so large that it is considered a miracle of the ancient world. It stretches as far as the eye can see. He intends to punish the rebellious Greeks once and for all, but standing in his way is a small force of 300 Spartans led by their legendary king Leonidas I. For 3 days, the Spartans fight to the death against overwhelming odds at the narrow pass of Thermopylae, buying precious time for the rest of Greece to prepare. When their numbers are finally overwhelmed, Leonidas and his 300 warriors sacrifice themselves in an attempt to slow down Xerxes' advance. Their bravery inspires the Greeks to regroup and ultimately win the war. And the Spartans' last stand becomes one of the most famous stories in all of ancient history. Herodotus writes that the Spartans fought so valiantly that neither the Persians nor the Greeks had ever seen the like before. Number 9. Alexander the Great. Alexander III, king of Macedon, takes the throne at the age of 20 after the assassination of his father, King Philip. Initially, he is viewed as a weak ruler and a puppet of the nobility. However, with the help of his new wife Roxana, Alexander reforms the Macedonian army and wages war against the Persian Empire. In just over a decade, he conquers the entire known world from Greece to India without ever suffering a defeat in battle. Alexander's innovative military tactics, such as the use of cavalry charges and his ability to inspire his troops, allow him to defeat larger and more experienced armies. He is a brilliant strategist and a charismatic leader. At the height of his power, Alexander is considered to be invincible. He dies at the age of 32, possibly from malaria or typhoid fever. His empire is divided among his generals, the Seleucids, the Ptolemies, and the Antigonids. But his legacy lives on in the countless stories and legends that have been told about him throughout history. Plutarch wrote that Alexander was born to be king and destined to be a god. But what was the secret behind his success? Number 8. Hannibal Barca. Born in 247 BC in Carthage, Hannibal Barca is a brilliant military commander who leads his armies across the Alps into Italy. He defeats the Romans in several battles, including the Battle of Cannae, where he famously surrounds and annihilates a larger Roman force. He is eventually defeated by the Roman general Scipio Africanus at the Battle of Zama in 202 BC. But his reputation as a brilliant strategist and tactician remains undimmed. Even centuries later, Livy wrote that Hannibal's crossing of the Alps was a feat that put to shame all the boasted achievements of the Greeks. Hannibal's skill as a military commander is legendary, but he is also a controversial figure. His decision to invade Italy and wage war against Rome is seen as a major factor in the eventual destruction of Carthage. He is eventually forced to flee to Bithynia, where he commits suicide rather than surrender to the Romans. Number 7. Ramses II. Ramses II, the third pharaoh of the 19th dynasty of Egypt, reigns for 66 years, longer than any other Egyptian pharaoh. He is the builder of many magnificent temples and monuments, including the Ramesseum, his mortuary temple. He is also a great warrior who fights many battles against the Hittites and the Canaanites. He is victorious in most of his campaigns, and his military prowess is legendary. One of his greatest victories is at the Battle of Kadesh, where he fights the Hittite king Muwatalli-Tudo. The battle is indecisive, but Ramses manages to escape and live to tell the tale. He is considered to be immortalized by this battle. He dies at the age of 90 and is succeeded by his son Merneptah. His legacy lives on in the countless stories and legends that have been told about him throughout history. According to Manetho, Ramses was so tall that even the pyramids could not contain his body. Number 6. Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar was a Roman general and statesman who played a critical role in the events that led to the demise of the Roman Republic and the rise of the Roman Empire. He was born into an influential patrician family and began his career as a military tribune. Caesar's military campaigns in Gaul, documented in his own book, Commentaries on the Gallic War, brought him great fame and fortune, as well as control of the powerful province of Gaul. His political career was marked by his rivalry with the Roman Senate, which culminated in his being assassinated by a group of senators in 44 BC. But his impact on Roman history was profound. As dictator, Caesar implemented a number of reforms, including a new calendar, which greatly influenced the development of the Roman Empire. His deeds were chronicled by his friend and fellow general, Augustus. And Shakespeare wrote his assassination as one of the greatest tragedies in his plays. 5. Cyrus the Great. Cyrus the Great was the founder of the Achaemenid Empire, the first Persian empire in ancient history. He was born in 600 BC in the kingdom of Anshan and rose to power in 559 BC. Under his reign, the kingdom grew to become the largest empire in the ancient world, stretching from Central Asia to the Middle East and North Africa. Cyrus was a brilliant military commander, and his empire was built on the back of many successful campaigns. He was also a visionary leader who introduced many new ideas and reforms, such as the Cyrus Cylinder, a declaration of human rights that is considered to be one of the earliest examples of its kind. This was inscribed on a cylinder in both Akkadian and Elamite and proclaimed the religious freedom of those subject to the empire. It reads, "I am Cyrus, king of the world, king of the countries which the gods have given me, son of Cambyses, grandson of Thaspes, and Achaemenian. Truly I am the king. Thus says Cyrus, I will speak for myself. Listen to me attentively. All the peoples that were carried away by force under the sun, all the nations that serve in the armies of the great gods, now return and dwell in their cities." Number 4, Xerxes I. Xerxes was the king of the Second Persian Empire. He came to power in 486 BCE after the death of his father, Darius I. At the time, the Persian Empire was still smarting from their defeat at the hands of the Greeks at the Battle of Marathon in 490 BCE. And Xerxes wanted revenge, so he assembled a massive army and set out to conquer Greece. But the Persians underestimated the Greeks and their king, Leonidas, who fought bravely at the Battle of Thermopylae. The Persians also failed to account for the brilliant Athenian naval commander Themistocles, who lured them into a trap at the Battle of Salamis. The Greeks won both battles, humiliating the Persians and ending their dreams of conquest. Herodotus writes, "The expedition to Greece turned out badly for the Persians. They suffered disasters beyond anything they had anticipated." Number 3, Themistocles. Themistocles was an Athenian statesman and general who is best known for his role in the Battle of Salamis during the Greco-Persian Wars. He was born in Athens around 524 BCE and rose to prominence in the city's government, the Assembly. One of his first major acts as an official was to rebuild the Athenian navy, seeing the threat posed by the growing power of the Persian Empire. At the Battle of Salamis, Themistocles convinced the Greek city-states to lure the massive Persian fleet into the narrow straits of Salamis, where the Greek triremes were able to outmaneuver their opponents and deal them a decisive defeat. This victory is considered to be one of the most important in ancient Greek history, and it allowed Athens to emerge as the dominant power in the Aegean Sea. But Themistocles was a controversial figure, and he was eventually exiled from Athens on the orders of the Assembly. Number 2, Scipio Africanus. Publius Cornelius Scipio Africanus was a Roman general and one of the most celebrated figures of the Roman Republic. He is best known for his victory over the Carthaginians at the Battle of Zama in 202 BC, which ended the Second Punic War. Scipio was the nephew of the Roman general and statesman Cato the Elder, and he began his military career serving under his father, Publius Cornelius Scipio, during the early stages of the Second Punic War. By the time he was 25, he was already a distinguished soldier with a reputation for bravery and tactical brilliance. When Hannibal Barca, the brilliant Carthaginian general, invaded Italy in 218 BC, the Romans were caught off guard. Hannibal's military tactics were unlike anything the Romans had ever seen before, and he achieved a series of stunning victories. But the tide of the war began to turn when Scipio defeated Hannibal at the Battle of the Trebia in 218 BC. From there, Scipio went on to defeat Hannibal at the Battle of Zama. With this victory, the Second Punic War was effectively over, and Hannibal was forced to flee to North Africa, where he spent his remaining days planning future wars against Rome. And number 1, Boudica. Boudica was the warrior queen of the Iceni tribe in Britain during the Roman occupation of the island. She is best known for leading a fierce revolt against the Roman authorities in 60 AD. Little is known about Boudica's early life, but she became the queen of the Iceni tribe after marrying Prasutagus, the previous ruler. When Prasutagus died, he left his kingdom to his widow and daughters to be ruled jointly, along with a sizable portion of his wealth. But the Roman governor of Britannia, Catus, ignored the will and seized the kingdom for himself, mistreated Boudica and her daughters. Outraged by the Romans' arrogance, Boudica rallied the Britons and led a rebellion that saw her forces defeat several Roman legions. However, the revolt was eventually put down, and little is known about what happened to her afterwards. Some historians suggest that she may have died by suicide to avoid capture by the Romans, while others believe that she was executed. Thanks for watching. If you love epic history, hit subscribe for more battles and legends every week.